G'day Reefers, I'm Cam the Fish Guy. Welcome to Gallery Aquatica TV. On Gallery Aquatica TV, we're quite famous for revamping reef tanks that aren't doing so well. Today we're starting a new series, and it's not just a revamp, it's a total redo. Let's have a look at the tank that we're going to completely transform. So this is it. It's a 4-foot tank. We're going to take you through everything that's in the tank, the filtration, the fish, the corals. We're going to look above the tank and below the tank, and then we're going to tell you exactly what we're going to do to transform this tank. So as you can see, we have a mix of fish and coral in this tank. The corals are predominantly LPS. We have bubble coral, there's Duncanopsamia, Turbinaria, there's a Favia, there's some soft corals as well. In fact, there's quite a few of the fluffy morphs, and you can see that this clownfish is actually hosting to a patch of fluffy morphs down here, which is quite cool. Now there's a few damsels in this tank. There's a really beautiful coal tang who's just hiding in here at the moment. There's a few SBS corals. Well, there's two. There's what was actually a Dallas colony and another Acropora. And you can see that they've really grown in a very stunted sort of way. And some of the problems that you can see with this tank really are due to some of the setup, the systems in this tank. So these are the sorts of things that we're going to improve. Let's have a look above the tank before we look below. Above this tank, we have a Giesemann hybrid T5 and LED system. Now this is actually, in my opinion, one of the best things about this tank. It's a new light, all the T5 tubes are new, and it is giving a great light spread across this tank. This is one of the few things that we'll be keeping for the new system. Let's have a look underneath the tank. We'll start on the left-hand side and move across as we go. The first thing you'll notice is there's an external Deltek protein skimmer. This is one of the problems that we have had in recent times, is that the impeller in the circulation pump on this Deltek has actually completely died. In fact, this is it here, and it's got so much wear and tear that it's completely unusable. And in these corona times, we haven't been able to get a replacement impeller. So this Deltek skimmer has been inactive. Behind the Deltek skimmer, there's a calcium reactor. Now, this calcium reactor is quite old. It's been holding the calcium and KH okay, but it really needs replacement, and that's one of the other problems that we have been struggling with in recent times. The refugium in the middle here is doing okay. The lights that are above this refugium have been adequate to grow the Calolepora, but I don't think that would give the penetration required to really grow Chaetomorpha. And we have struggled with phosphate and nitrate in this system. So improving this refugium system is something that we're really keen to do. On the third side, you'll see we've got our auto top-up system in a separate tank. On the last section of the sump proper, we've got our return pumps as well as a chiller feed, and we'll have a look at the chiller in a minute. But certainly all of this filtration is something that we can improve so that we've got a much more elegant system. We'll just have a quick look around at the chiller, and then we'll talk about what we're going to do in the tank. So we're behind the tank in the pantry, and this is where the chiller is. It's just down here. It's a Tico 2000, which is well and truly overrated for the size of the tank. The tank itself is only, I think it's 500 litres, not even. But having the chiller out in this area just means it's more ventilated, and it leaves us with more space in the cupboard, in the cabinet. So let's go back to the tank. So what are we going to do to totally transform this tank? Well, we're going to take the tank, the cabinet, the hood out and replace it all. So this gives us an opportunity to do a few things. It gives us an opportunity to fix this overflow system. You can see the weir in the tank is very large. It takes up a lot of space, and it's also very obvious. It's made out of glass, of course, but there's no black covering that we would normally use in a center weir like this. But this tank actually has the perfect opportunity for a Calfo overflow. And there's a section in here that we're going to use to have our overflow, which will mean the plumbing will go down into the sump, and it'll be a completely new sump. It'll come down through here, we'll have space. The cavity will be the same, so we'll be able to use this section for wave makers as well. But most importantly, we won't have this large overflow in the center of the tank, which is really taking up a lot of space. But when it comes to the dimensions of the tank, we're going to make one other big change. It's around the side. This tank is in a beautiful area of the house. It's really obvious whether if you're in the dining room or the lounge room. And so the position is such that you can see the tank from this angle, and there's actually a space behind the tank. So we're going to make use of this space, and we're going to make the dimensions of the tank a lot wider, and it's going to come all the way out here. Now this will make the aquascape easier. It'll give us more space for fish and corals, and the combination of the extra space behind the tank, as well as the fact that we'll be taking out, or we won't have that internal weir, this tank is going to be completely different to this current one. What are we going to do underneath the tank? Let's have a look. So we'll have our drainage from our Calfo overflow coming down on the right hand side. We'll have a skimmer where this ATO is currently. It'll be an external octo. The water will flow down into the right hand side of the sump. It'll move through a refugium. We'll put a new lighting system on the refugium so we get much better growth. And then we'll have our return section here, which will pump back into the tank. We'll have our automatic top-up reservoir on this side as well. And most importantly, we'll take out all of this equipment and we'll put in a dosing system. So we'll be able to have a dosing system that is dosing Triton, of course, straight into the section of the return, and we'll keep our chiller where it is, but basically this filtration system will be reversed and all of the componentry upgraded and really modernized. So we're going to do this massive transformation in 3 stages. The first stage is going to be removing everything that we have here. The fish and the corals are going to go to our propagation room, and we're going to adjust them for the period of time that it takes to do all this. The second stage is going to be putting the new tank in. Now, we have to design the tank itself, the filtration, the stand. We've got a consultation with a cabinet maker happening next week, so it's all moving forward quite quickly, but putting the new system in place and just plumbing it up, getting all the equipment in, will be stage 2. Stage 3 will be moving all of the fish and corals back into this tank, re-establishing the ecosystem, building the aquascape, getting everything exactly right so that we can then really pimp out the tank with new fish, new corals, and really make this the tank that it deserves to be in such a beautiful house, in such a beautiful position. So that's our episode of Gallery Aquatica TV for today. Stay tuned to Gallery Aquatica TV for future episodes of Reef Redo. We're going to really focus on this tank and show you every aspect of ripping out one tank to replace it with a new and better tank. So, I'm Cam the Fish Guy. Happy reefing! That's our video for today. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit the like button and make sure you've subscribed to our channel so you don't miss an episode of Gallery Aquatica TV. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Cam the Fish Guy. Happy reefing!